Hey everyone, this is Coach Marc Nolan, and welcome back to another episode of Don't Outkick Your Coverage, the only truly 100% podcast dedicated to those high school athletes who every week are trying to get that next college offer. And yes, to the moms and dads who are supporting them, aunts and uncles, grandmom and grandpops, and everyone else that's trying to get that elusive college athletic scholarship. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about NIL, and we're going to talk about maybe some of the things that we're doing here at the Kicker Zone and over at Don't Kick Your Coverage with something we're going to call Born to Brand, the NIL belief gap. And yes, as an old fart in my age right now, and people always having these things like boomers and Gen X and Gen Z and Gen Y and Gen whatever, right? I've actually come up with a new one. And I'm calling this one Gen NILers. Yep. When parents become the players and the players become the bystanders. So, look, one of the things that I have been talking about for probably the last 6 years, going back to when I wrote my book on college athletic scholarships and NIL, is one of the things that has been driving the brand managers crazy is how do we go after these young men and women? And it's true. They're going after them. How do we engage with them? How do we make them more brandable? Of course, the lawyers aren't going to go after them because lawyers don't go after the high school kids. Not yet, but it is coming. But this is why I'm branding this the Gen NILers and the branding series. This podcast is for every high school athlete and every parent trying to make sense of this new world called name, image, and likeness, or as I call it, the new recruiting currency. But before we jump in, I want to give a quick shout out to all of you who answered our NIL survey questions last week because, wow, the results were eye-opening. And here's what we learned. I had about 288 respondents to this. I had parents, I had high school kids, and yes, I even had some college guys that are playing ball right now. And I asked these just two questions. Here's what the results came back with. 50% of the parents said their kids couldn't or shouldn't handle their own NIL deals locally. And I don't mean going after the Nike brand. I mean just going to Joe's Pizza shop and see if you can get, a couple of slices for free and he'll do a shout out for them. 75% of the athletes, high school athletes, said they aren't social media savvy enough to even try. Well, that kind of blows me away a little bit because it's like, do they even want to try to get a job somewhere? And then that was the two things that got me crazy. But then, you know what? I asked the current college kids that I trained. Some of them I trained, some I didn't train. I said, ask your friends this question. And I said to them, if you had the opportunity back in high school, just 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and had NIL opportunities, the question is, if you had that opportunity to have an NIL deal in high school, knowing what you know now as you're sitting in your college dormitory, would you have started NIL deals back then? Or would you just wait? And you know what? 81% said they would do it now. If they were back in high school and had the opportunity to go to NIL deals locally with the pizzeria and the local dress shops and everything else going on, 81% said they would do it. So that was a very telling statistic to me of college athletes who just 1 or 2 years removed from high school, who were now in college, were thought that they could go after NIL deals. That to me is not a gap. That's a gorge. And today we're going to start building the bridge a little bit, if you don't mind. But before we do, let's talk about why that gap exists. Look, I get it. Parents are scared their kids will post something stupid or dumb or get scammed on social media. High school athletes are scared they'll look cringy or get clowned by teammates or do something goofy. So what happens? Everybody freezes. Or worse, they just fake it. And some of you know exactly what I'm talking about because mom or dad is in the DMs right now pretending to be that 16-year-old athlete chatting with a quote unquote college coach, except that coach is probably a grad assistant or a quality assurance managing the team account who is on a coffee break. That's what's really going on. That's not recruiting. That's just role playing. And it's hurting everybody, especially our high school athletes. The one other question I asked, I said to him, if you had an opportunity, and this came to the college kids, if you had just one opportunity where someone gave you a list of qualifying questions, everything else, and took you down a road and took you down a playbook of how to do it, would you again sign up for something like that? Every one of them, I mean, again, it was higher than the 81%. It was about almost 90%. Said, yes, if you're going to show me what the questions I can do and cannot do and how to get out of it, absolutely, I'm going to do it. So, and some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. The reason being is that parents care. They care deeply about their sons or daughters. They want to protect their kids. But in the world of NIL, that overprotection becomes over interference. Well, I'm not going to say that you're helicopter parents, but it is a lot of hovering over the digital media world. And let's call it what it is. Hovering in the hashtags. Because when you run your kids' social media, you rob them of the very skill NIL rewards, being real, relatable, and yes, responsible online. Coaches can spot a parent-run account from a mile away. I've had recruiters telling me, Coach Mark, we knew mom was typing that caption. And guess what? They just scroll on because these college coaches, whether they're QA, grad assistant, whatever, they will rarely are going to see a 16 or 17-year-old put a semicolon in a response. They know it's a mom or dad. Mom and dad, you're smiling right now because you know it. And I know it. A coach wants to recruit a player, not a parent PR firm, because that's what's happening right now with a lot of these issues. And again, don't get me wrong. I get it. Moms and dads, we want to protect our kids. We want to put some guardrails in place. We want to do some things to help them, just like when you're driving a car. I'm sure when Johnny or Jeannie start going out and driving a car, you're going to sit there with them. You're going to be in the passenger seat. You're probably going to take them out to the mall somewhere, in the parking lot somewhere, and let them drive around in circles, put some cones out there, do parallel parking, all those kind of things. This is really the same thing we're talking about with social media. You can put guardrails up there. There's all kinds of things that go on in social media right now that you can protect them from. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But one thing you can't do is to totally divorce yourself from the way of what's going on positively wise from a social media standpoint. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to change the social media. And I get it. There's some social media stuff out there that is very, very cringy. But we're talking about kids that are trying to get scholarships. We're talking about having some social media presence, a positive social media presence, because that's where the college coaches live. College coaches are buying databases from the social media companies to get these kids to come to their camps, to reach out to them, to see what they're doing. And if they don't have it, and moms and dads, if you're not trying to manage those accounts for them, you're going to hurt yourself and you're going to hurt the kids. So how do we close this belief gap? Well, at North Star, we use what I call the 3 T's. So we have trust. Parents, you've got to be able to trust your athlete will make mistakes. You have to let them make mistakes. That's how they learn in the digital world and how they learn to become digital confident. You've also got to teach them. You got to teach them. You got to guide them. Coach them on how to post purposely, not perfectly. And we talk about that inside of our NIL playbook of how to post purposely, not perfectly. And then third, it's the test. Start small. Just, one post, one story. just 1 week at a time. And again, put some guardrails in place. NIL isn't being about viral. That's a branding manager's dream. Okay. That's what they care about. Everything's got to go viral. It's got to go viral. This has got to go viral. That's got to go viral. Well, viral doesn't mean good. It just means that boatloads of people are out there. It's about being visible. It's about being valuable. And it's about being vocal. Vocal from your standpoint of being an athlete. Vocal from a standpoint of you sharing some of your goals, some of your desires, some of your dreams of trying to get and playing at the next level. And this is where our parent playbook comes into play. So you know what? I'm going to give you one simple homework that we have from our NIL playbook. Is it okay if I share it with you? Hopefully you said yes. Step away from the keyboard. Hand the phone back to your athlete. Sit down with them and ask, what do you want people to know about you? What do you want them to know about you as an athlete? What do you want them to know about you as a person? What do you want to know them about your dreams and your goals and your desires? That one conversation, just that one, can build trust faster than any other DM will ever have. And for the athletes who are listening, remember, coaches aren't looking for a perfect Instagram grid. They're looking for character. They're looking for consistency. And they're looking for a voice that sounds like you, the 15, 16, 17-year-old athlete. That's who we want to help build out. Because the reality check is, I know some of you are thinking, Coach, this is just the way it is. Parents run the show. No, it's the way it was. If you are going to try to build yourself up. The Gen NILers era is about empowerment. It's about some level of ownership, and it's about accountability. Look, if you can kick a 50-yard field goal, if you can throw a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, if you can score a goal from 60 yards out, then you certainly can craft a 15-second story about it. How hard can that be? It doesn't have to be perfect once again. And listen, as we close this segment, I want to tell you something. NIL isn't about followers. It's about foundations. It's about putting some firm foundations in place as a high school athlete. Because you know what? If you want to get to the next level in college, guess what you're going to have to do in college? You're going to have to be in front of the camera. You're going to have to be in front of people. You have to be talking to people all the time about what goes on. Okay. Wouldn't you rather know it now and make the mistakes in high school that may not cost you, but can only help you as you get to college? And when parents trust and the athletes try, that's when the real magic happens. So let's again make a deal. This week, you focus on confidence over control. Let your kid run a post. See what happens. You might be surprised what they can do when you just step aside and cheer from the sidelines instead of the DMs. And my call to action for you this week is really simple. If you're ready to see where you stand, take the free Gen NIL Confidence Quiz at northstar.com. You'll find out if you're ready to start your brand journey or if you just need a North Star to guide you. And you know what? We came up with the North Star is because I remember my Army days when we were in the swamps. The North Star was what guided us out of the swamp. It was that one thing that always took us from a supposed danger environment to making sure we knew where we were going that whole time. It was the one thing that was constant in our life. And that's what I want to show you with our NIL North Star grid that we're doing in our playbook. So look, next episode, we're going to go from fear to framework. We're going to break down how to actually build a brand that works for you and not against you. Some may call it a done for you model. And it's very true. But you know what? We're going to have homework assignments all along the way for the high school kids as well as for the parents, because we want to see you be successful. No one, believe me, no one has done what we're trying to do for the high school athletes. So hope you want to join us. And again, if you can't reach me through my email, send me another note on our mnolan@thekickerzone.com, or certainly call out to me at 678-200-7540, and I will send you the Gen NIL Confidence Quiz. How's that? Is that a pretty good deal? And it's free. For goodness sakes, it's free. How can it hurt you? But you're going to have to make that decision, moms and dads. So at the end of the day, as they say, the control is in your front view mirror. You also have a side view mirror, and you have all kinds of mirrors in a car. I want you to give some control away to your sons and daughters, and sons and daughters, we want you to take some control. So as we end this episode, I want to thank you once again, everyone, for listening to our podcast. It's been an amazing journey so far for us. We're excited to have everybody keep on adding to our listeners. And please, 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 for those of you who like our podcast, share it. Share this with others, because this is what gets us geared up every week when we see our numbers keep going up. It means you're helping us. And why wouldn't you want to help us? Because you're helping your friends, you're helping your parents, and you're helping the kids that we want to serve. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, please comment on this, share and like it on your social media platforms. And until our next episode, which is coming up on Thursday, remember this: your voice is your value. Now go out and own it. This is Coach Nolan, once again, signing off from Don't Kick Your Coverage. Have an awesome weekend, everyone, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.